All right, is this work? There we go. There we go. We got game feed. That's good. All right. This is Salty Sergeant. We are back playing Planet Coaster on my headset here. There we go. Got a fancy new wireless headset over Christmas break. Still trying to figure out the kinks with it. Okay. Let me see where my chat's at. There's YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. Beautiful. Okay. But as the title suggests, I just wanted to mess around with Planet Coaster a little bit. I had an idea I wanted to play around with. Because I was building a couple of weeks ago. I was building one off of the new Magnificent Rides collection, um, called Demented. It's on Steam right now as a download. The blueprint and playing around with that. There's a certain section of that roller coaster that I wanted to try to recreate with a normal lift hill. Because I feel like that by itself would make a fairly decent ride. That would be small, compact, pretty standard for my usual builds. But I really liked how everything flowed together on that one section. So I wanted to see if I could recreate that section of the track, possibly refine it a little bit more because it wasn't that refined. It was actually pretty awful. On this guy right here, actually. So this section, I know it looks like a giant mess, but after this launch here, let me see if that's actually showing, if my pointer's showing up on the video correctly. And of course it's not. But after this launch here on the bottom, we go into a zero-G roll turnaround, into a corkscrew, into a overbanked turn, into airtime hill, and it's essentially just tying itself into a big knot. Okay, it's doing a great job at that. Um, and I wanted to essentially recreate this on a similar size scale, maybe a little bit bigger, um, but using a regular lift hill for the mode of propulsion. To see if we could come up with something reasonable. I'm not sure for what type of coaster we're going to use. It might be the same type actually. I really like that coaster. Um, really do. Let's see. Go to custom because there's other. Obviously, there are other styles we could use, but I still really enjoy this style just because of how versatile it is. Everything. We're definitely not making it a stand-up coaster. That sounds awful. Yeah, the only other thing I could really make it out of would be realistically, would possibly be an RMC style. That's the only other type of roller coaster that goes through that style of inversions. I know there is this funky zero-G roll turnaround. There is a B&M that does that. It would be really cool if there was like a B&M style that wasn't stand-up or hyper. Because there's the B&M suspended, but you don't see suspended coasters ever doing overbank turns. That doesn't really happen. I guess we could do it. Could be a floorless coaster too. That would almost make sense. Almost. Sorry, nose little stuffy. I've had a bit of a cold over the past week. Trying to get over it still. Ah. But yeah. Let's see. What can we do with this? I'm not sure if there's anyone actually watching. If you guys have any recommendations for this, I might just end up using the same style coaster just because of how versatile it is. And also, I like the lap bars. Lap bars are. Actually, you probably do a Basilisk. I haven't actually made many of these guys. Yeah, just a second. Okay. Thought I had a sneeze coming. It might still be coming. We'll see. Alright. I'm not exactly sure how we want to do this. Shorten that. Angle snap, yes. Let's go up to 45 degrees. That's a nice angle. Not sure how tall I actually want to make this thing. 32 meters sounds reasonable. That's on par with a lot of my other stuff too, so. And it's definitely bigger than this guy, because this guy is very low. I think this one peaks out at like 17 meters height. Which that will just not do at all. Okay. We have lift hill. Did want to keep this as compact as possible. I'm thinking we're going to turn this around and drop down. I'm trying to think how everything is actually going to work together on this. I do want to keep angle snap because with angle snap, it allows me to line everything up well. I know it's irritating. I will get irritated at it, but it does allow everything to line up well. I'm going to try my best to continue to use it. There we go. Excuse me. There we go. Now we're all turned around. We can have a proper drop off. Which, a vertical drop seems like it could work for this. I don't know if it's actually going to work. But we're going to try it. That actually doesn't look too bad. Pretty pleased with how everything's turning out so far. Because I haven't really built any roller coasters of this type yet, so If this ends up turning out well, this one may end up going up on the workshop as well. Actually, I'm not sure. Oh, my headphones just turned off. Oh well. Plug those in, let them charge up a little bit. Let me double check something here. We're not actually getting any game audio, are we? Game audio, are we? There we go. That should be some game audio. There we go. There we go. That should be some game audio. That should be some game audio. Yeah, we got a little bit now. Yeah, excuse me. Okay. Yeah, we got a little bit now. Yeah, we got a little bit now. Yeah, excuse me. Okay. Yeah, excuse me. Okay. Yeah, we got a little bit now. Okay. Yeah, excuse me. Okay. Probably be a lot easier if I didn't have a cold going on right now. Excuse me. It's like I don't really have a cold right now. Okay. Probably a lot easier. Still getting over it one though. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze again here in a second. It's like I don't really have a cold right now. It's like I don't really have a cold right now. Okay, that's not good. I need to make that a little bit sharper like that. Okay, that's not good. I need to make that a little bit sharper like that. Make that a little bit sharper. Actually, it might work. Hold on. Bad idea time. Those usually actually work out pretty. Bad ideas usually work out pretty well for me. Bad idea time. Those usually actually work out pretty. Bad ideas usually actually work out pretty. Bad ideas usually work out for me. All right. This one's just going to need a lot of custom scenery work. All right. I say custom scenery, just scenery work. This one's just going to need a lot of scenery work. Custom scenery work. I say custom scenery, just scenery work. I say custom scenery, just scenery work. Okay. We have a vertical drop coming down now. Okay. We have a vertical drop coming down. How does this work? We have a vertical drop coming down now. Because I did this element over here too, the 0G into the turnaround. But this one I just did a 0G into a turnaround into an overbank, trying to make it a bit more compact. This one's going to be a little bit more lengthened, but there's going to be a lot more track there. Almost so much that there's not going to be much else to the roller coaster besides this element. I'm not sure if it's really counted as its own element. Not really, because it's several elements like combined together. But I like how they all flow together. They flow together real nice. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Actually, we're gonna add a piece of flat track on the bottom just for smoothing purposes. So when we do go through and smooth everything, everything will be even. So when we do go through and smooth everything, everything will be even. Okay, banking offset 2 meters. Okay, banking offset 2 meters. Okay, banking offset 2 meters. Being track limits probably go to 6 meters. There we go. Being track limits probably go to 6 meters. Track limits probably there we go to 6 meters. There we go. That actually might work pretty well. Height-wise, I'm happy with it. Okay. So let me get this thing testing. We can see how things are actually working out right now. So let me get this thing testing. We can see how things are actually working out right now. Because we may end up actually having shorter trains, especially with that vertical drop. I know RMC's current vertical drops, they actually have some pretty long trains for having vertical drops. I know RMC's current vertical drops, they actually have some pretty long trains for having vertical drops. Actually, that works out really well. Actually, that works out really well. Actually, that works out really well. Um. See. Try to make this work out. I'm not sure if this is going to work the way it is. I think I need to actually roll the other direction. Try to make this work out. I'm not sure if this is going to make this work out. I'm not sure if this is. I think I need to actually roll the other direction. To actually roll the other direction. Now I want to be at 45 degrees. We want to be rolling this way. There we go. I know what I'm doing. I want to be at 45 degrees. We want to be rolling this way. There we go. Pro tip, I don't actually know what I'm doing. Okay. Pro tip, I don't actually know what I'm doing. Pro tip, okay. There we go, that's better. Okay. There we go, that's better. There we go, that's better. Instead of continuing to turn, we're going to actually bring up here like that. Bring up here like that. Bring up here like that. What angle do we want? What doesn't look awful? Let's try that. What angle do we want? What angle do we want? What doesn't look awful? Let's try that. What doesn't look awful? Let's try that. What angle do we want? Doesn't look awful. Let's try that. I don't know if this one's gonna work. Okay. Let's see. I need to have maybe making a sharper turn from starting from up here. Okay. Let's see. I need to have maybe making a sharper turn from starting from up here. And get a little less sharp down here. That'll work. And get a little less sharp down here. That'll work. Get a little less sharp down here. That'll work. This work. This work. This work. Trying to get everything to line up on this is not going to be easy at all. We're trying to get the corkscrew to line up correctly, the way I want it to. We're trying to get the corkscrew to line up. We're trying to get the corkscrew to line up the way I want it to. The way I want it to. This needs to actually be at 45 degrees, which I think it's at. This needs to actually be at 45 degrees. This needs to actually be at 45 degrees, which I think it's at. I think that's correct. That looks right. I think that's correct. I think that's correct. That looks right. That looks right. The key here will be trying to control our G-forces through this turn here, through the turnaround, because this maneuver does get quite rough where G-forces are concerned. Okay. Now, because I'm lazy and I don't know how to make corkscrews. Now, because I'm lazy and I don't know how to make. We're actually just going to have a straight piece here. Okay, so we needed 45, 45. Nope, nope, go back. Oh, how did I make these things before? I'm trying to remember. Because this was supposed to be. This was definitely 45. This was 45. This was supposed to be. This was definitely 45. This was 40. This was definitely 45. This was 45. I think this was supposed to be 90. So 90, 45, 45. I think this was supposed to be 90. And that goes into 45. So 90, 45, 45. 90, 0, 180. That. That's how you make corkscrews. Okay, yeah. But I wanted to do that slightly differently. That's how you make corkscrews. Okay. Let's take this down to like 8 meters. Let's take this down to like 8 meters. There's like an angle snap option for what is it, 7.5? So I could do 7.5 degree increments. It'd be so much better. So this is supposed to be 45, so we do half of 45 there. Either way, this will work for us. Half of 45. Either way, this will work for us. Either way, this will work for us. Half of 45. Half of 45. Half of 45. Half of 45. Half of 90. Then this one, we go full 90. Half of 90. Then this one, we go full 90. Then this one, we go full 90. Full 45. And the other one is good. This is going to look really funky, but this one will actually smooth out correctly. This is going to look really funky. This is going to look really funky, but this one will actually smooth out correctly. But this one will actually smooth out correctly. Leads to a much larger corkscrew. Leads to a much larger corkscrew. Leads to a much larger corkscrew. Hopefully, make this work correctly. Hopefully, make this work correctly. Make this work correctly. 45. That's still turning. 45. That's still turning. 45. That's still turning. I think that's 45. That's still turning. Still turning. This needs to be there. Still turning. There. Still turning. This needs to be there. 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 We've made essentially just a giant corkscrew, which should be more or less correct. Should be. Which should be more or less correct. More or less correct. And because we use smaller pieces, we can actually make adjustments on it. And because we use smaller, which should be good. Be happy with it. Okay. So we have a big corkscrew going over the final, or the first drop, really. Okay. So we have a big corkscrew going. Now we have to do an overbank turn for the first drop, really. For the first drop, really. And then come back through itself, essentially, probably with some small airtime hills, so we can get our excitement up. Probably with some small airtime hills, so we can get our excitement up. Get our excitement up. As of right now, I mean, it's fairly irrelevant, but we are sitting at pretty high excitement ratings throughout the ride. But yeah, pretty irrelevant because the track is not smoothed yet, which will drop those excitement ratings significantly. Okay. Now we just need to make an overbank turn. Think about making one to the right. Okay. Now we just need to make an overbank turn. I don't know how else we would be able to do this. I don't know how else we would be able to do this. Trying to think. Because on this one, this one was reversed. So yeah, it ended up doing an overbank turn to the left after the corkscrew. So after doing the corkscrew this direction, we're going to do an overbank turn to the right and come back down through the corkscrew again through here. Then maybe do like a helix at the end or something. But there shouldn't be too much beyond that. Yeah, maybe a couple airtime hills coming back through and winding inside of itself, like a helix at the end into the brake run. Should be pretty decent. Very small, should be fairly compact. Should be affordable and money making, which is, honestly, is really what's the most important part about roller coasters. At least when you talk to parks about them. They care more about the money making ability. They care more about money making ability. So if we do that, is that too sharp? No, that's actually pretty decent for the speed they're going up there. I'm happy with that. We are going to need to make some adjustments here to make sure that we're able to come out of this aiming in the correct direction. Need to make some adjustments here to make sure that we're able to come out of this aiming in the correct direction. We want to come out aiming that way and going over itself here. I adjust this at all? No, aiming that way. Do that. Over itself here. Going over itself here. I adjust this at all? No, I adjust this like that. Beautiful. And it'll come right on the other side of the drop. That will work. Now from here we can actually do like a turn around double down. We can come back down real steep off of that, trying to get a pop of airtime, increase our excitement, all that fun stuff. We can come back down real steep off of that, trying to get a pop of airtime off of that, increase our excitement, all that fun stuff. Which I'm sure is going to get smoothed out significantly, but actually, yeah, let's try working that a little bit differently so it doesn't smooth out as much. try working that a little bit differently. It doesn't smooth out differently, so it doesn't smooth out as much. Okay, now the problem here is it is still like 15 degrees off of what it needs. Okay, now the problem here is
Move that like that.
The problem here is it is still like 15 degrees off of what it needs.
Move that like that. Move that like that.
We'll see if that works for us. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tweaking over that hill because that's going to be causing a lot of laterals. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tweaking over that hill. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tweaking over that hill because that's going to be causing a lot of laterals. And possibly we're going to have to go back anyways. Try that again. Getting a little too close to the
Possibly we're gonna have to try that again. Anyways, try that again. Getting a little too close to
the track of the corkscrew, and that's not what we want.
the track of the corkscrew, and that's not what we want. The track of the corkscrew, and that's not what we want.
That doesn't look too. Go back up to 8 meter lengths. Okay, that should work a little bit better now.
That doesn't look too. Go back up to 8 meter lengths. Go back up to 8 meter.
Okay, that
lengths.
should work a little bit better now.
Okay, that should work.
The track on the corkscrew is being well avoided at this point.
The track on the corkscrew is being well avoided at this point. Well avoided at this point.
Got to make sure we get a good airtime pop over these hills. Because the other one that I made, there wasn't really any airtime pop on the hills. A little sad and disappointing, but it happens.
There wasn't really any airtime pop on the hills, but a little sad and disappointing, but it happens. It happens.
Now, if we wanted to get really weird, we could actually bring it to the outside here, and then through the loop again, and then it would be essentially braiding itself, which would be kind of fun. There's going to be a lot of funky laterals to deal with if we do that.
Which would be kind of fun.
Might be worth doing though.
There's going to be a lot of funky laterals. There's going to be a lot of funky do that
for the sake of amusement of it braiding itself.
Might be worth doing though.
Because I know back when it was just the 0G roll into overbanked turn, it was tying itself into a knot. That was the idea behind it. But if I'm now trying to braid the track, that does change things up a little bit.
But if I'm now trying to braid it, that does change things up a little bit.
Hmm. We'll see how this goes for right now, because I'm not really sure what to do after this point anyways.
We'll see how this goes.
Let's see.
Because I'm not really sure what to do after this point anyways.
You know what? No, screw it. We're going to braid it.
Let's see.
That sounds way more entertaining.
Screw it. We're going to braid it. We'll see how this goes for right now. That sounds way more entertaining. I'm not really sure what to do after this point anyways. We'll see how this goes.
Let's see.
I'm not really sure what to do after this point anyways.
You know what? No, screw it. We're going to braid it.
Let's see. That sounds way more entertaining.
A little bit beyond 45 degrees. Let's get rid of a little bit of angle there.
A little bit beyond 45 degrees.
We can do that, that,
A little bit of angle there.
that. So it's coming out of there at 45 degrees.
That. So it's coming out of there.
So we need to turn that way,
A little bit beyond
45 degrees, to keep it.
rid of a little bit.
It'll make it look it'll make it look better from above. It'll get all the lines to match up nice.
It'll make it look all.
Not that it really matters too much, but that's what I would like out of this.
Not that it really matters too much, but that's what I would like out of this. 45 degrees to keep it. It'll make it look all. It'll make it look better from above. It'll get all the lines to match up nice.
A really low overbank turn, so that's 30, 30,
That's what I would like out of this.
15.
A really low overbank turn. 30, 30.
To make this correct, we need to do it here. That's not going to work. How I've created this turn.
Correct, we need to do it here. That's not going to work. A really low overbank turn, so that's 30, 30.
Let's go back here. Raise you up to 30.
15. Let's go back here. Raise you up to 30. Make this correct. We need
That.
Here. That's not going to work. How I've created this turn.
That.
Let's go back here.
And that's going to cause it.
Let's go back here.
And that's going to cause it. That. Yeah, that's gonna actively chop people's heads. We don't need that. Trying to do this short overbank turn thing is not working very well for me.
And that's going to cause it. Trying to do this short.
We only want to turn it 90 degrees. So trying to get an overbank turn to work at a 90-degree increment is not.
We only want to turn it 90 degrees. Yeah, that's gonna trying to get an overbank turn to work at a 90-degree increment.
Not great.
Trying to do this short overbank turn thing is not working very well for me.
Not great.
We only want to turn it 90 degrees. So trying to get an overbank turn to work at a 90-degree increment is not. Not great.
That might work. That might be a little too sharp on the top, though. That might cause some issues.
That might work. That might be a little too sharp on the top, though. That might cause some issues.
We're not actively chopping people's heads off anymore.
We're not actively chopping people's heads off anymore. That might work. That might be a little too sharp on the top, though. That might cause some issues.
Yeah, that might be a little bit too sharp of a maneuver. Curious what other trains actually work on this, though, because if I can put other trains on this, that would be pretty fun. I'm not a huge fan of these 2x3s. Because it doesn't do sharp maneuvers well.
2x3. Yeah, that might be a little bit too sharp of a maneuver. Because it doesn't do sharp maneuvers well. Curious what other trains actually work on this, though, because if I can put other trains on this, that would be pretty fun. I'm not a huge fan of these 2x3s. Because it doesn't do sharp maneuvers well.
And pretty much everything I do will end up... Anything of this style turn is going to end up head chopping, so this is... We're going to have to do this a little differently.
Anything of this style turn is going to end up head chopping, so we're going to have to do this a little differently. Pretty much everything I do will end up... Anything of this style turn is going to end up head chopping, so we're going to have to do this a little differently.
Okay, so that might result in not head chopping, but that's going to be a butt trying to sort out that turn with all the G-forces.
Head chopping, but that's going to be...
That's fine. We'll get it sorted out.
With all the G-forces. That's fine. We'll get it sorted out.
Okay, before I get too far in here, we need to do our brake run, which we need to get rid of angle snap for the brake run.
Too far in here, we need to do our brake run.
We only want it to be at like 5 degrees.
Snap for the brake run. We'll get it sorted out. We only want it to be at like 5 degrees. Okay, before I get too far in here, we need to do our brake run, which we need to get rid of angle snap for the brake run.
Are those trim brakes? I don't want trim brakes.
We want it to be at like 5 degrees.
Which trim brakes have their use, but trim brakes have their use. I know the roller coaster community as a whole doesn't have severe problems against trim brakes. I know the roller coaster community as a whole doesn't have severe problems against trim brakes. Which trim brakes have their use, but I know how much speed do we have? Because we might still have plenty of speed coming through here. Trying to think what else we can do through here to work off a little bit of speed. Trying to think what else we can do through here to work off a little bit of speed. Let's see. How much speed do we have? Because we might still have plenty of speed. Let's see. Trying to think what else we can do through here to work off a little bit of speed. Okay. First off, this needs to be regular track. Let's see. First off, this needs to be regular track. 8 meters from pretty much ground level. 8 meters, okay, from pretty much ground level. First off, this needs to be regular track. Something like that. Because as the roller coaster goes on, if you keep it low to the ground towards the end of the track, it keeps the excitement up. Because it keeps your speed up as well. I'm gonna try to do that. Because it keeps your speed up as well. I'm gonna try to do that. Not sure how well it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Because as the roller coaster goes on, if you keep it low to the ground towards the end of the track, not sure how well it's gonna work. But we're gonna try it. Let's. It keeps your speed up as well. We're gonna try to. We want to make this work. We want to make this work. Not sure how well it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Hmm. Not sure how well it's gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Okay. This element, essentially, or this string of elements, is what I wanted to try to create, but I'm not sure how to actually finish off the roller coaster now. Essentially, or this string of elements is what I wanted to try to create, but I'm not sure how to actually finish off the roller coaster now. Okay. This element, essentially, or this string of elements, is what I wanted to try to create, but I'm not sure how to actually finish off the roller coaster now. So no, we got to make sure to have plenty of small airtime hills at the end to keep. So no, we got to make sure to have plenty of small airtime hills to keep the excitement up. To keep the excitement up. We got to keep the excitement up through the whole ride, otherwise it's just not going to go well. We got to keep the excitement up through the whole ride, otherwise it's just keep the excitement not going to go well. We're going to need more angle faster than that turn would allow. Okay. We're going to need more. We got to keep the excitement up through the whole ride, otherwise it's just that turn would not going to go well. Okay. We got to keep the excitement up through the whole ride, otherwise it's just not going to go well. Okay. Okay, so I've got an idea. It's probably not going to work. That turn would allow. Okay. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna need more angle than that coming into this turn. Ooh, yeah, we're gonna need more angle than that coming into this turn. Okay, so I've got an idea. It's probably not going to work. If we de-angle this a little bit, angle that up. If we angle that up a little bit, we angle it down, overbank it a little bit. We angle it down.
overbank it a little bit. If we de-angle this a little bit, angle that up, angle that up.
Nope, that is way too
down. Overbank it a little bit.
like that.
Nope, that is way too.
And we turn it a little sharper coming. Well, actually, we can turn it a little sharper in the overbank itself, can't we? But we got to make sure not to interfere with that with the drop there, because right now that's not going to work.
Make sure not to interfere with that.
That is not going to work at all.
Right now, that's not going to work. So we turn it a little sharper coming. Well, actually, we can turn it a little sharper in the overbank itself, can't we? But we got to make sure not to interfere with that, with the drop there, because right now that's not going to work. That is not going to work at all.
I mean, the tracks aren't touching. I got that going for it. But, yeah, that's not going to work in the long. He's actually going to be able to run on that.
I mean, the tracks aren't touching. I got that going for it. But, yeah, that's not going to work in the. He's actually going to be able to run on that.
Okay.
I mean, the tracks aren't touching. Okay, I got that.
Try making this a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So not 45 degrees. Let's try 30 degrees. That's almost too big.
Not 45 degrees. Let's try 30 degrees. That's almost too big.
Okay, not 45 and not 30. So let's go drop this down. See if there's a spot between that.
45 and not 30. So let's go.
There's a 33.75 degrees. Try that one.
That's almost too big. There's a 33.75 degrees. Try that one.
Let's see.
Okay, not 45.
How do we want to do this? Because we want to go into an overbank turn. I'm looking to do kind of an element that I have in one of my other roller coasters. And this guy, like an overbank turn helix that goes underneath the overbank turn. All that fun stuff. Because I really like the way that this looks. It always ends up turning out really well on any roller coaster I put it on. So I'd like to add that to this one, something similar. I'm having issues figuring out how to fit it in here.
Because I really like the way that this looks. It always ends up. I'm having issues figuring out how to fit it in here on any roller coaster I put it on.
It's gonna happen, I think. Put this back to 15.
Something similar. It's gonna happen.
Let's have that at 30.
I'm having issues figuring out how to fit it in here.
Okay, so let's de-angle that and start increasing there.
Okay, so let's de-angle that. It's gonna happen. And start increasing there. I think. Put this back to 15. Let's have that at 30. Okay, so let's de-angle that and start increasing there.
Like that. And then if we stick really low, we might be able to drop underneath that one.
And then if we stick really low, we might be able to drop underneath.
I'm not sure. And that looks weird with these trains, so I don't really want to do that.
And that looks weird with.
We don't want things to look wrong.
And if we stick really low, we might be able to. I don't really want to do that. Drop underneath that one. We don't want things to look wrong. If we stick really low, we might be able to. Really want to do that. Drop underneath. I'm not sure. And that looks weird with these trains, so I don't really want to do that. And that looks weird with. We don't want things to look wrong. These trains, so I don't really want to do that. We don't want things to look wrong.
Okay, that might actually work. Okay, that might actually. Yeah, I feel like that could work. Now we just got to turn this around over here into the brake run. We should be good to go.
I feel like that could work. Now we just got to turn this around over here into the brake run.
Hopefully.
We should be good to go. Hopefully. I feel like that could work. Now we just got to turn this around over here into the brake run. We should be good to go. I feel like that could work. Now we just got to turn this around.
The ending isn't terribly compact, but it should give plenty of space to do like theming stuff over here. It should be good.
But it should give plenty of space.
Can always use more theming space.
Theming stuff over here. It should be good. Can always use more theming space. The ending isn't terribly compact, but it should give plenty of space to do
That just about lines up perfectly.
stuff over here. It should be good. Can always use more
That just about lines up perfectly. So if we do that, which I mean, it's not a terribly interesting way to end the coaster.
That just about lines up perfectly. If we do that, which I mean, it's not a terribly interesting.
Maybe if we add like a little hump here to give a little bit more airtime or something. Just trying to make the end of the little bit more interesting than just a couple banked turns.
Just trying to make the end of the, which I mean, it's not a terribly interesting way to end the coaster. A couple banked turns. Maybe if we add like a little hump here to give a little bit more.
We increase the height on that one a bunch.
Or something.
Smooth. There we go.
A little bit more interesting than just. We increase the height on that one a bunch. A couple banked turns.
Smooth this one like that. Beautiful.
Smooth this one like that.
That might actually work pretty. Just trying to add a little bit more interest to the to the end of the ride instead of just having a nice boring turn.
A little bit more interest to the
Which I mean,
end of the ride instead of just having a nice.
just because it's a turn doesn't mean it's boring, but
Which I mean,
it's hard to make like a flat turn
because
that
turn doesn't.
is keeping a constant angle.
Just trying to. It's hard to make
Interesting.
like a flat turn to the end of the ride instead of
keeping a constant
having
angle.
a
Not
boring turn. Interesting. Which I mean, just because it's a turn doesn't mean it's boring.
I actually don't want to adjust the
Which I mean, it's hard to make like a flat turn.
angle of that turn too much. I like that
Keeping
how it is.
Interesting.
Actually, before I get into this, let's get our block section set up so we can get two trains running.
Before I get into this, let's get our block section set up. I actually don't want to
And actually change what train is running on this as well.
angle of that turn too much. I like that how it is. Actually,
We don't want Zenith. Zeniths are mediocre.
actually,
Amiat, no. Rage, no.
Two trains running.
Looney Turns, no, definitely not.
Rage.
Not Jigsaw, not Invincible.
Looney Turns. No.
Although I do like the Invincible trains, the old Intamin trains, I do like those quite a bit. I haven't actually created one of these roller coasters yet.
No. Intamin trains.
Of this style.
Rage.
Probably do that one of these days.
I actually created one of these roller coasters.
Probably really go all out with theming on the that swinging mine train.
Probably really go all. Although I do like the theming on the old that trains. I do like swinging mine train. I haven't actually created one of these roller coasters yet. In this style. Probably do that one of these days.
Yeah, Burgess.
Probably really go all out with the theming on the that swinging mine train. Yeah, Burgess.
Okay then. So for reference, you cannot put the trains on from the new coaster on this track.
You cannot put
Interesting.
the trains on from the new coaster on this track. Interesting. Okay then.
Still only have one train though. Needed two trains.
So for reference, you cannot put
and then we need to do some smoothing.
The new coaster on this track.
Which hopefully I'll be able to get through the smoothing because I need to get going at about 11 o'clock.
And then we need to do some smoothing.
In about 20 minutes.
Which hopefully I'll be able to get through the smoothing because I need to get going at about 11 o'clock. Two trains. In about 20 minutes.
I need to start. I need to wrap up this this stream and start moving on to do what other stuff that I need to get done.
I need to get going at about 11 o'clock. I need to wrap up this this stream in 20 minutes on to do what other stuff that I need to get done.
And I'm not changing the fact that it's going in the ground because I actually have a plan for that. It's been an idea I've been looking at for a while now that I just haven't gotten a chance to really incorporate into a ride yet.
It's been an idea I've been looking at for a while.
Move the crap out of that because there's those flat pieces on the bottom. I wanted to use those to try to make the bottom of the hill a little bit less severe by smoothing the crap out of them.
Make the bottom of the hill a little bit to really incorporate into a ride yet by smoothing the crap out of them. Smooth the crap out of that because there's those flat pieces on the bottom. I wanted to use those to try to make the bottom of the hill a little bit less severe by smoothing the crap out of them.
Oh, it's smooth. It's looking much better already. Look at that. Beautiful. It's still going to need some work, but
better already. Look at that. Beautiful.
But for right now, it doesn't look too bad.
Still need some work, but oh, it's smooth. It's looking much. But for right now, it doesn't look too bad. It's still gonna need some work, but for right now, it looks.
And hopefully, this way of creating the corkscrew should work pretty well. Because I've done it before with only 4 pieces.
Hopefully, this way of.
But it's at a 90-degree limit on all 4 of those pieces, so smoothing doesn't work. And you can't make any adjustments to it after you're done. Which actually works really well for like arrow style corkscrews because they're unforgiving as they are in real life anyways. But this one I want it to be a lot more forgiving, a lot more reasonable, a lot more pleasant.
This one I want it to be a lot more forgiving, a lot more reasonable, a lot more
At least that was the goal.
as they are in real life anyways.
Okay, we're not adjusting the top angle, so we can move over here.
But at least that was the goal. This one I want it to be a lot more forgiving, a lot more
we're not
reasonable,
adjusting
a lot
the
more
top
pleasant.
angle.
So we can move over here.
This turn is going to need some work.
At least
I know that turn is definitely going to need some work.
Okay, we're not. This turn is going to need some work. So we can move over here. I know that turn is definitely going to need some work.
Oh no, it's not a terribly long coaster either, so that makes this a little bit easier to get this all taken care of.
This turn is going to need some work. It's not a terribly long coaster.
Okay, not smoothing the top angle there.
I know that turn is definitely going to
That.
be easier to get this all taken care of.
We don't want to adjust the angle anymore.
Top angle there.
Actually, maybe we do want to smooth the top of that turn.
Long coaster either, so that makes this. We don't want to adjust the angle anymore. Get this all.
That looks better.
Actually, maybe we do want to smooth the top of that turn. Okay, not smoothing the top angle there. That looks better. We don't want to adjust the angle anymore.
We have our turns and overbanks come through here,
Top of that turn.
which should work out pretty well.
We have our turns and overbanks come through.
We're not smoothing out the top of the turn,
pretty well.
so we don't have to, so it doesn't adjust the top angle.
We're not smoothing out the top of the turn. We have our turns and overbanks.
It's actually widening out the turn a little bit while smoothing it, which is nice. Because this turn is really quite tight for how fast it's going.
Widening out the turn a little bit. Again, we're not smoothing out the top of the turn because this turn is really so it doesn't adjust really quite tight for how It's actually widening out the turn a little bit while smoothing it, which is nice. Because this turn is really, really quite tight for how fast it's widening out the turn.
And we're coming into this turn, which we did already smooth out once, but we're going to go over it again. But not adjusting the top of it.
We're coming into this turn, which we did already smooth out once, but
you don't want to change the height of it too much. Actually, I'm pretty pleased with how that looks. Let's do that. Okay.
You don't want to change the height of it too much.
So we still have a few more minutes left. Let's see what we've got for our results. Because it isn't...
Let's see what we've got for...
Do a quick ride-on real quick. Because it isn't complete yet. Nowhere close.
Actually, I'm pretty pleased because it isn't...
But
Let's do that. Okay.
our basic layout is done.
Quick ride-on.
Our basic layout is done. It's smooth. Looking, at least. It's probably not actually smooth.
Because it isn't... Our basic layout is done. It's smooth. Quick ride-on.
But that's okay. We'll get it there. We will get it there. Pay no attention to the fact it goes into the ground.
We'll get it there. Basic layout is done. It's smooth. We will get it there. Looking, at least. Pay no attention to the fact it goes into the ground.
Corkscrew's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out.
That's okay.
We have our overbank turn. Little hill here.
Corkscrew's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with
Not quite overbank. I'm not sure if we're getting airtime over that little double down either. I'd like to make sure we're getting airtime through there.
Not quite overbank. I'm not sure if we're getting airtime over that little... Corkscrew's not too bad. I'm pretty happy. I'd like to make sure we're getting airtime through there.
And there's a lot of laterals going around that
Little hill here.
that last dip down because it's actually banked in the dip, so that's going to cause a lot of unwanted lateral G's.
Going around that, I'd like to make sure we're getting airtime
That last
through
dip
there.
down because
It's actually banked in the dip, so that's going to cause...
max vertical 4.99. That's actually survivable.
And there's a lot of
Minimum is negative 0.5. That's very survivable. Max laterals is 3. Is almost 3. 2.93. That is not great. That is not great at all.
Max laterals is 3. It's almost 3. 2.93. That is...
We gotta... Those laterals will not... I can't stand with those laterals. We gotta fix that.
That's very survivable.
I don't know exactly where they are, but we're gonna... that's way too much. We want to try to keep that under 1G for laterals.
I don't know exactly where they are, but we're gonna...
Because that'll make the roller coaster the most comfortable experience. Because you don't want people to be uncomfortable when riding the ride. I mean, it's okay to have an intense ride and all,
I don't know exactly where they are.
but you also want it to be comfortable. You don't want people to have actively be experiencing physical pain when riding your roller coaster.
But you also want it to be comfortable. You don't want make the roller coaster actively be experiencing physical pain when riding your roller coaster. Because you don't want people to be uncomfortable when riding the ride. I mean, it's okay to have an intense ride and all, but you also want it to be...
So it looks like we're only peaking at a couple different places. Like right there is a big one. That's probably where our max is.
So it looks like we're only peaking at a couple...
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Like right there is a big one. That's probably where our max is.
But right here, we need a lot more angle.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So it looks like we're only peaking at a couple different places. Right here, we need like a lot more angle. Is a big one. That's probably where our...
Let's move that out. Let's move that out.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Let's move that out. Right here, we need a lot more angle.
Okay, let's try that. That might work a little bit better. Unfortunately, now that's probably going to put our vertical G's over 5, which we're going to have to adjust that then, because you don't want to have your vertical G's above 5, because that's usually where people pass out.
Over 5, which...
You want to avoid people passing out on your roller coaster. At least in real life, that's usually how it works.
You want to avoid people passing out on your roller coaster. At least in real life, that's usually how it works. We're going to have to adjust that then, because you don't want to have your vertical G's above 5, because that's usually where people pass out.
I'm probably going to be making adjustments to this general design
At least in real life, that's
in the future as well, with various different types of roller coasters. Because I like the idea of the 0G turnaround to the corkscrew to the overbank turn. But I'm not sure if this is its final form. I think I've still got some ways to go. I'm seeing a lot less lateral Gs. I'm happy with that. What's our max lateral G now? Something more reasonable, I hope. 1.6, significantly more reasonable. That's actually survivable. But vertical have jumped up 5.3 at the bottom of this turn, so we're going to have to find a way to make that not so severe. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that yet. Because that is a problem with this general element of the 0G turnaround. You do get a lot of G forces. If you want to go if you want it to go under itself, you get a lot of G forces through there.
I'm not exactly sure how we're going to do that yet. If you want it to go under itself, you get a lot.
Because even this one,
Because that is a problem with this general element of the 0G turnaround.
this one, I feel like this was like the best one I've created so far. Because this one actually has a pretty consistent G forces throughout the whole
I feel like this was
the whole turnaround, and it's not too severe, especially towards the bottom, because it's not turning at the bottom, it's just flattening out. That's all it's doing. It's actually pretty flat on the bottom. So this is actually a much more ideal way to do it than this one. So we might try raising this up a little bit throughout to try to flatten out the try to even out the vertical transition. I don't know. We'll work on that tomorrow though. Running out of time today. So yeah, this is where we're gonna stop working on this one today. Yeah, looking a lot. This one's not looking too bad at all. I really like how this one's turning out. I do have ideas for this for the scenery. Not much for theming yet, but I do have some ideas for scenery that I want to do. We'll see how it works. But yeah. If anybody's actually watching, I'm not sure. Please remember to like, subscribe, follow, whatever, depending on what platform you're using to watch. I greatly appreciate it. And I will be back on tomorrow. I'm not sure when. I think tomorrow morning I'm going to IKEA, so probably tomorrow afternoon I'll be online. But yeah. Hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one, and thank you.